Did you know that Ireland, a small island in the North Atlantic, is home to just over 5 million people, but has a global diaspora of over 70 million people with Irish heritage? Ireland's influence far exceeds its size, known for its breathtaking landscapes, literary greats, and rich history. But behind the iconic green hills and vibrant traditions lies a story of resilience, culture, and transformation. Today, we'll take you on a journey through Ireland's history, culture, and the stories that shaped this remarkable nation. Whether you're an avid traveler, a history enthusiast, or simply curious about the land of saints and scholars, you're in for an unforgettable ride. Ireland is located in the North Atlantic, west of Great Britain. It covers just over 32,000 square miles, making it slightly smaller than the state of Indiana in the US. But for such a small country, Ireland has played a significant role in both European and global history. Understanding Ireland's history and culture is key to appreciating its deep connections to the land, its struggles for independence, and its global influence, particularly through its diaspora. From the ancient Celts to modern economic booms, Ireland's past is a fascinating mix of triumphs and tragedies, of legends and legacies. Ireland's story begins long before written history, with early settlers arriving as far back as 8000 BC. But it was the arrival of the Celts around 500 BC that truly transformed Ireland. The Celts brought with them their language, their art, and most importantly, their mythology. They laid the foundation for much of Ireland's cultural identity, including the Irish language, Gaelic, and a rich oral tradition. The Celtic mythology is filled with tales of gods, goddesses, and legendary heroes like Cuchulainn. These myths have been passed down for generations and still resonate in Irish culture today. So, if you've ever wondered where the leprechaun stories come from, you can thank the imaginative minds of the Celts. By the 5th century, Ireland was a patchwork of small kingdoms ruled by Gaelic chieftains. These leaders wielded significant power, but perhaps none had more lasting influence than a missionary named St. Patrick. Legend has it that St. Patrick used a shamrock to explain the concept of the Holy Trinity and drove the snakes out of Ireland. But what's certain is his pivotal role in spreading Christianity throughout the island. Ireland soon became known as the land of saints and scholars, with monasteries like Clonmacnoise and Glendalough emerging as centers of learning and spirituality. These early Christian communities preserved much of the knowledge that would later help Europe rebuild after the Dark Ages. The Viking Invasion of Ireland began in the late 8th century when Norse raiders from Scandinavia launched their first attacks on Irish monasteries and coastal settlements. They targeted wealthy religious sites such as Lindisfarne and Clonmacnoise, drawn by the treasures housed within these centers. But the Vikings didn't just raid, they also settled. By the 9th century, Viking settlers had established permanent bases in Ireland, most notably Dublin, founded in 841 AD, as well as other significant settlements like Waterford and Limerick. These cities became thriving trade hubs, linking Ireland to a vast network that spanned Europe and into Asia. The Vikings left a lasting mark on Irish society, influencing trade, urban development, and even Irish military practices. Over time, they assimilated with the native Irish, and their legacy can still be seen today in Dublin's architecture and cultural practices. Though initially destructive, their long-term impact helped shape medieval Irish towns and commerce. If you're fascinated by Viking history, be sure to check out our video on the Viking Age, where we dive into their history, culture, and lasting legacy. But first, stay tuned here to complete this journey through Ireland's own story. In 1169, the landscape of Ireland changed forever with the arrival of the Normans. The invasion was initially invited by an Irish king, Diarmait mac Murchada, who sought Norman help to reclaim his kingdom. Strongbow, a Norman noble, led the charge, bringing with him soldiers, knights, and a powerful military force. However, what began as a strategic alliance quickly turned into a lasting occupation. The Norman invasion introduced new systems of land ownership and feudalism to Ireland. The Normans built castles and fortified towns, reshaping the political landscape. Over time, many Normans integrated into Irish society, adopting Irish customs and language. This blending of cultures led to the rise of the Anglo-Irish, a new class of lords who were loyal to the English crown, but deeply influenced by Gaelic traditions. The Norman influence on Ireland would last for centuries, setting the stage for deeper English involvement and ultimately paving the way for future attempts at control. Fast forward to the 16th century, and Ireland was once again at the center of political conflict, this time under the rule of the Tudors. English monarchs, particularly Henry VIII and Elizabeth I, sought to bring Ireland fully under English control. Their goal was to centralize power and enforce English law, often through harsh military campaigns. This period saw the plantations of Ireland, where English and Scottish settlers were given land, particularly in Ulster, in an attempt to establish a loyal Protestant population. The Tudor Conquest led to widespread displacement of native Irish landowners and deepened the divide between Catholics and Protestants, a division that would shape Ireland's history for centuries. The conflict escalated during the 17th century, culminating in brutal wars such as the 9 Years' War and the Wars of the Three Kingdoms, which included the Irish Confederate Wars. Alongside Cromwell's brutal campaigns in Ireland had a devastating impact, with thousands killed and vast tracts of land confiscated. By the end of the 17th century, English control over Ireland was firmly established, and the seeds of the religious and political divisions that would dominate Ireland's future were firmly planted. One of the darkest and most devastating periods in Irish history is the Great Famine, or An Gorta Mór, which struck between 1845 and 1852. The famine was caused by a potato blight, a disease that wiped out the potato crop, an essential staple for millions of Irish people, particularly the poor. At the time, potatoes were the primary source of food for about 1/3 of the population, and the failure of the crop had catastrophic consequences. The British government's response to the famine was widely criticized. While some relief efforts were made, they were largely inadequate. Exports of food from Ireland continued, and the rigid economic policies of laissez-faire left many Irish people to fend for themselves. The result was mass starvation, disease, and the emigration of over 1 million people to countries like the United States, Canada, and Australia. During the famine, over 1 million people died, reducing Ireland's population by nearly a quarter. Entire villages were wiped out, and the landscape of Ireland, both physically and socially, was forever changed. The scars of the famine are still felt today, as it fueled a deep resentment toward British rule and contributed to the growing nationalist movement for independence. The 20th century marked a turning point in Ireland's long struggle for independence from British rule. The fight came to a head in 1916 with the Easter Rising, a pivotal event in Irish history. On April 24, 1916, a group of Irish nationalists, including figures like Patrick Pearse and James Connolly, seized key locations in Dublin and declared an independent Irish Republic. Although the rebellion was quickly suppressed by British forces, the executions of its leaders stirred public sympathy and intensified the push for independence. Following the Rising, nationalist sentiment grew, leading to the emergence of the Sinn Féin political party and its military wing, the Irish Republican Army, IRA. By 1919, the Irish War of Independence had begun, with guerrilla warfare between the IRA and British forces. Led by figures like Michael Collins and Amon de Valera, the conflict eventually led to the signing of the Anglo-Irish Treaty in 1921. Despite these conflicts, Ireland officially became the Irish Free State in 1922 and later declared itself a fully independent republic in 1949. The years following independence were focused on rebuilding and defining the newly formed nation, with Ireland remaining neutral during World War II. Ireland's journey to independence was hard-fought and left a lasting impact on its people, its politics, and its relationship with Northern Ireland, a legacy that continues to shape the island to this day. Ireland's mythology is deeply woven into the fabric of its culture, passed down through generations as part of an ancient oral tradition. These myths are full of gods, goddesses, and legendary heroes, often associated with the Tuatha Dé Danann, a supernatural race believed to have ruled Ireland before the arrival of the Celts. Central figures in Irish mythology include Dagda, the god of life and death, Brigid, the goddess of fertility and healing, and the legendary warrior Cuchulainn, whose epic battles and feats of strength remain iconic. These tales, which blend history, magic, and nature, provided the spiritual and cultural foundations of early Irish society. Myths such as the Book of Invasions, a legendary account of Ireland's earliest settlers, explain how gods and mortals shaped the island's destiny. These stories also include famous sagas like the Táin Bó Cúailnge, which recounts the epic battles over a prized bull, showcasing Ireland's heroic legends. Irish mythology continues to influence modern culture, from literature to art, and remains a key element of Ireland's national identity. Many festivals, traditions, and folklore practices still carry echoes of these ancient stories, keeping the mythical spirit of Ireland alive today. Ireland is home to two official languages, Gaelic and English. While English is the dominant language used in everyday life, Irish holds deep cultural significance. Gaelic has been spoken in Ireland for over 2,500 years, and its roots are entwined with Ireland's history and identity. Today, you'll find Irish road signs, schools teaching in Irish, and cultural revivals celebrating the language, particularly in Gaeltacht areas, regions where Irish is still spoken as a community language. The Irish language remains a powerful symbol of national pride, a living link to Ireland's past, and a reminder of the country's rich Celtic heritage. Efforts to preserve and promote the language are growing, especially through the media, education, and pop culture. So, if you ever visit Ireland and hear someone greet you with a hearty "Dia Duit," that's hello in Irish. Just smile and maybe try responding with "Dia is muir duit," hello back. Ireland has long been a land of storytellers, producing some of the most influential writers, poets, and playwrights in the English-speaking world. Figures like James Joyce, W.B. Yeats, Oscar Wilde, and Samuel Beckett have left an indelible mark on global literature, exploring themes of identity, love, rebellion, and human nature. Ireland's literary heritage is so rich that Dublin was named a UNESCO City of Literature. Works like Joyce's Ulysses are celebrated worldwide, with Bloomsday, a day dedicated to the novel, attracting literature lovers from around the globe. Ireland's storytelling tradition, however, extends beyond the written word, with oral tales and mythology passed down through generations. No discussion of Irish culture would be complete without mentioning its music and dance. Traditional Irish music is beloved for its lively rhythms and haunting melodies, with instruments like the fiddle, tin whistle, bodhrán, drum, and uilleann pipes creating sounds that resonate across generations. Ireland's dance traditions are equally vibrant. River dance, which gained international fame in the 1990s, brought Irish dance to the global stage with its mesmerizing footwork and precision. Beyond that, local Sealy dances are still held in communities across Ireland, bringing people together in celebration of their shared culture. And while Irish dancers' feet seem to move faster than the speed of light, the joy and passion behind the music and movement are easy for anyone to appreciate. Ireland's calendar is filled with festivals and celebrations, each steeped in tradition. The most famous of all is St. Patrick's Day, celebrated on March 17th, not only in Ireland but worldwide. On this day, streets are filled with parades, and people wear green in honor of Ireland's patron saint, St. Patrick. Another unique celebration is Bloomsday, held annually on June 16th in honor of James Joyce's Ulysses. Fans of the book dress in Edwardian attire and retrace the steps of the novel's protagonist, Leopold Bloom, through the streets of Dublin. And then there's Samhain, the ancient Celtic festival that celebrates the end of the harvest and the onset of winter, a precursor to modern-day Halloween. These festivals aren't just about honoring Ireland's past. They're vibrant celebrations that bring communities together and invite visitors to immerse themselves in the country's history and culture. When it comes to Irish cuisine, you might be surprised to find that it's not just about potatoes, though they do play a key role in many dishes. Irish food reflects the island's rich agricultural history and its connection to the land, with hearty, wholesome meals that have been passed down through generations. One of the most iconic dishes is Irish stew, made from lamb or beef, potatoes, carrots, and onions, cooked slowly to create a warm, comforting meal that's perfect for Ireland's famously rainy days. Then there's soda bread, a simple but delicious staple made without yeast and often served with butter or alongside soups and stews. And for breakfast lovers, the full Irish breakfast is not to be missed. It's a feast of sausages, bacon, eggs, black pudding, and more, all designed to fuel a day of hard work, or perhaps a day of touring the Irish countryside. Ireland's coastal location also means there's an abundance of seafood, from fresh oysters to smoked salmon, often paired with a pint of the country's most famous drink, Guinness. Ireland's cuisine reflects its simple, agricultural roots, but has evolved in recent years with a growing focus on farm-to-table dining and artisanal products, making it a culinary destination in its own right. If you're enjoying the video, go ahead and hit that like button and subscribe. Now, let's continue. Sports play a huge role in Irish life, with two native sports holding a special place in the hearts of the people: Gaelic football and hurling. Both are governed by the Gaelic Athletic Association, GAA, which has been central to preserving Irish sports and culture since its founding in 1884. Gaelic football is a fast-paced, high-energy game that combines elements of soccer and rugby. Meanwhile, hurling, often described as the world's fastest field sport, is played with a small ball, called a Sláinte, and a wooden stick, called a hurley. These sports are more than just games. They're an expression of local pride, especially during the All-Ireland Championships, where county teams battle for the ultimate title. And believe me, if you ever find yourself in Ireland during hurling season, you'll quickly discover that choosing a favorite team is serious business. Beyond Gaelic sports, rugby and soccer are also hugely popular in Ireland, with the national rugby team boasting an international reputation. Sports in Ireland unite communities, foster local and national pride, and create unforgettable experiences for both players and spectators. In the late 1980s, Ireland faced high unemployment, emigration, and slow economic growth. But by the 1990s, the Celtic Tiger Era transformed Ireland, with rapid growth driven by foreign investment, especially from tech giants like Google, Apple, and Intel. Ireland's low corporate tax rates attracted multinational companies, turning Dublin into a tech and finance hub with a skilled, English-speaking workforce. By the early 2000s, Ireland had risen from one of Europe's poorest nations to one of its wealthiest. This boom expanded the middle class, improved living standards, and encouraged migration to Ireland for the first time in centuries. However, this growth was heavily tied to a property bubble, which burst during the 2008 global financial crisis, leading to recession, unemployment, and austerity measures. Despite the downturn, Ireland gradually recovered, aided by an EU-IMF bailout. Today, the economy is thriving again, with a focus on sustainable growth and diversification beyond tech and real estate, reflecting lessons learned from the Celtic Tiger Era. While the Republic of Ireland experienced economic growth with the Celtic Tiger, Northern Ireland faced intense sectarian conflict, known as the Troubles, from the late 1960s to the late 1990s. This conflict centered on nationalists, mainly Catholic, who sought unification with Ireland, and Unionists, primarily Protestant, who wanted to stay in the UK. The Troubles involved violent clashes, bombings, and assassinations, with British troops deployed and paramilitary groups like the IRA and UVF active. Over 3,500 people lost their lives, and many more were injured or displaced. In the 1990s, peace efforts led to the 1998 Good Friday Agreement, a historic turning point that established a power-sharing government and frameworks for cooperation between Northern Ireland, the Republic of Ireland, and the UK. Endorsed by voters in both regions, the agreement marked a major reduction in violence, though divisions remain, with some communities still separated by peace walls. While challenges persist, Northern Ireland now enjoys relative peace and stability, proving that entrenched conflicts can be transformed through compromise and dialogue. In the 21st century, Ireland has not only recovered from economic hardship, but has emerged as a global leader in areas such as technology, pharmaceuticals, and innovation. Dublin is often referred to as the Silicon Valley of Europe, and the country is home to some of the world's biggest companies. But Ireland's story is about more than just its economy. It's also about its social and cultural evolution. I hadn't initially planned to dive into these topics, but they're too significant to leave out. In 2015, Ireland made history as one of the first countries to legalize same-sex marriage by a popular vote. What are your thoughts on this landmark decision? Then, in 2018, Ireland legalized abortion, a deeply personal and complex issue. Personally, I have mixed feelings about this. I support the progress on individual rights, but I also understand the difficult conversations it has sparked. Of course, this is just one perspective. I'd genuinely love to hear your views on both laws. Do you agree or disagree, and why? Ireland's story is one of resilience, a unique culture, and a deep-rooted sense of identity. From ancient Celtic tribes to the modern republic, Ireland has faced immense challenges, emerging stronger each time. Its history, from the hard-fought struggle for independence to the economic rise of the Celtic Tiger, reflects a nation that has grown, adapted, and thrived. But Ireland's journey isn't over. Its story continues to evolve. For visitors and learners alike, this rich history and vibrant culture offers endless inspiration. Thank you for joining us on this exploration of Ireland's past and present. If you enjoyed the video and want to see more captivating stories from around the world, remember to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. We'd love to hear your thoughts and experiences with Ireland. Please share them in the comments. At InspirEclipses, we're passionate about sharing the world's most inspiring stories. Join us for more journeys into history, culture, and beyond.